Hey guys, Lucky Larry here, K&L Machine and Welding, and we're starting on a new part on the old 54 GMC that we've been working on. We're starting on the other rear fender, which actually this is our last part that we're going to be doing for this truck. And as soon as this one's done, we get the two back fenders and a couple other small parts painted. We're going to be done with this thing. We're going to be ready to assemble it. But at any rate, what we're going to do, I'm going to set my camera up over here, and I'm going to kind of let you follow me as I go through this. And granted, now there's going to be a lot of dead space in there, and I will edit all that out as far as where we do a lot of sanding and for hours on end. But at any rate, I want you to kind of get an idea of what goes into restoring just a fender. Let me take you over here and show you this one. It's the one that we cut the gas door into, and it's sitting here right now. Let me turn it around here. It's sitting here right now, and it's really looking good. I know maybe some of y'all look at that and say, well, actually that Lucky Larry, that thing looks like shit. Well, it probably does to some folks because of all the putty and everything on it, but it's straight. To a body man, this thing looks wonderful. Okay, we got it all filled and we're ready to prime. And all we're waiting on as far as priming is to get the other fender ready, and I'm going to do them all at the same time. But as you can see, our fuel door came out absolutely perfect. I mean, this thing, you couldn't ask for no better than that. And of course, on the back side, here's where we welded the box and everything in, welded the new fuel neck in. The fire-breathing dragon over here just came on, so I'm gonna have to kind of stop right here and let the shop warm up. And when we come back, we'll actually be working on this fender over here. Back again, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to attempt to get this old fender brace off here, which is broken, and obviously it has bent and torn some of the metal here and back up in here. But at any rate, I've already taken a wrench and got on this and attempted to break this loose. And it's very tight and actually kind of feels like maybe it wants to round off. So, what we're going to do is we're going to get on it with an impact wrench first. We're going to see if that'll break it loose. For those of you who are not familiar with an impact wrench, it's one of the best things that you can have as far as getting out rusted bolts, because the impact itself will actually break the rust up to some extent. So we're going to give it a try. The other thing is, and I want you all to see this, when you're dealing with stuff like this, where you're dealing with old rusty fasteners and such, get 6-point sockets. There is no substitute, guys. A 12-point, you can round off your corners on your fastener. With a 6-point, you're driving off of the entire flat. Way less chance of damaging a screw. Or a nut, I mean. So here we go. Well, it is turning, but our problem is it's turning the bolt clear through, which is about what we figured. I'm going to show you something here, and this is something you don't see very often anymore. Right down here, if you look at that, for those of you young fellas who've never been around and seen anything like that, that's what's known as a clutch head. That is a clutch head screw. And I'm going to have to go over here and get something to try to hold that. So, let's see, can we get on it? Because to be quite honest with you, I don't have a clutch head socket that size. I've seen them, I know what they are, but I certainly don't have it. Although we may have to get some. Looks like the first thing I need to do is maybe hammer dolly this piece down where we can get at it. So, let me go over here and get my body hammer and a heel dolly. Right there's your heel dolly, guys. It's called a heel dolly because it looks like a shoe heel. Let's see if we can drive this down. And sometimes the best thing to do is to come on the back side and work on the front side with your hammer. Actually, most of the time, that's the best way to do it. Let's see if we can get this turn. There we go. Now let's see if we can get on it with our vice grips and do any good. Probably not. We may have to actually cut this screw off. And if that's what it comes to, well, that is certainly what we will do. We're going to try to take him off the right way. There we go. Now we got a lock on him. Let's see what we can do. Nope. Well, we got it coming our direction, guys. We're almost off. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed what I did there, but when I started turning, and I was initially, I had my vice grips in there like this. Well, that had it rolling this way, which is trying to, essentially it's trying to turn out of, roll out of the jaws. And it won't hold as much. When I turned my vice grips around, grabbed it from this side, now as it's turning this way, it's like it's biting in better. And which is why we got our nut off. Everybody likes to get a nut off. Now, guys, I want to show you this because this goes right back to what I was saying a little bit ago. I want you to look. Let me get this out of these vice grips. I want you to look at the flats on this nut. Okay, all 6 of them. Now you can see how hard that socket was driving on those flats. That was with a 6-point socket. Imagine had we been using a 12-point socket. Okay? So that is a very, very good illustration of why when you're working with stuff like this, old rusty junk. Use 6-point sockets, guys, because I'm telling you, they really are. They're your savior as far as not rounding off fasteners. Okay, guys, I went and gathered up a few more tools to have on hand here, because what we're fixing to do is we're going to go ahead and hammer dolly all this out, try to get all this junk straightened back up to where it's fit to use again. So let's see what we can do with it. Guys, I don't know if you see what I'm doing here. We had a hell of a crease right here. Okay, take my heel dolly, I lay it flat against that, come on this back side, get on the high spot, and knock it down. Now that's not always how you do it, but that's the way we're doing this particular piece. I have what's called hammer on dolly and hammer off dolly. And I'll explain all that after a while when we get into hammering our panel itself out, and not just these lips. As you can see we got a little kink right here. Okay, and that's what we're trying to get out. So what we're going to do, we put our dolly underneath of it. And you got to hold these things tight, guys. That's what makes it work. You hold the dolly tight. You find your high spot. You got a high spot right here. Take your hammer right on that high spot. Now you see how straight that is? What we're doing is when we do that, not only are we driving the high spot down, but the dolly is lifting the low spot up. Okay? If that makes sense. Okay, once again, we got a little corner here that's bent over. We're going to get our dolly behind it. Okay? Now we got this corner lifted. All you got to do is drive that corner down. Okay? Much better. Much, much, much better. Now, we got a little kink across here. Okay, that's what's got it headed this way. So, we're going to get our dolly here, right at the edge of that crease. We're going to drive this down over here. Okay, now see how nice and straight that is? We're going to come back, because by doing that, every time you move metal, you move all kinds of stuff, okay? Well, now we got a tiny little kink here, okay? It lifted up. So we're going to go back with our dolly, and we're going to drive that down. Okay? Now we got a nice straight edge there until you get back to here. Okay? Back here, this has been drove up. So, we're going to get our dolly down here. We're going to start working it out. Sometimes you got to get bigger tools, guys. Sometimes them little old body hammers ain't going to be enough. Do what you got to do. This is kind of what you do to rough it in. Right here. You use the big old I think that's an 8-pound sledgehammer. But as I say, we're just roughing it in. We're just getting it close. Okay? And the thing you got to remember about this is, anytime metal bends, you leave stress in it. The metal wants to go back where it was originally before it bent. So if you can get on it and get a good push or a good hammer against it with a dolly, it wants to go back where it came from. And as you can see, you know, we're almost there. We got just a tiny little kink up in here now, and that's what we're fixing to take out right now. Okay, get over here. Yeah, that still ain't enough. We're gonna have to get our big hammer back after it. And the thing that we're dealing with here, folks, we've got two layers of metal that we're trying to bend. We've got this inner lip here that is spot welded in, and we've got this outer skin. So we're trying to bend all this. So sometimes it takes a bigger hammer. Okay, now we're getting pretty close on this, guys. Now, I see something just happened here, and this is something we're going to have to go back and fix. Okay, we got a little split right here. Okay, that's what I mean when I say this metal moves. And it moves in lots of different directions when you start bending it, trying to bend it back and all this. Well, sometimes this is what happens. It's okay, we can repair it. We'll go in and weld it. For now, we're going to get right here. We're going to drop it down. There we go. Actually, where we're at here is not too bad. Okay, we're actually looking pretty good here, guys. So now I'm going to take, I'm going to show you these. This is just a homemade tool that I made. It was an old junky pair of needle nose that I ground off the end, sharpened them up here, put me a kind of a divot here. Now what this is for, initially what this was for peeling the door skin off of a door, actually on this particular truck. I made this to hook on the lip. Well, we'll turn around here. Made this divot to hook on the lip of the door, and then this sharp edge would grab the edge of that sheet metal, and you can start folding it back and peeling that skin off. Okay, well, we got a situation here. We got a little curl of metal here bent around, and I figured this would be a good opportunity to use this. So put that in there just like so, and sometimes it works and sometimes it don't. And we'll find out here in a minute. Ah, there we go. There we got a hold of it. Okay. And it brings it right around. And there we go. Now, I'm going to have to hammer this into shape. Now, got to kind of figure out what we're going to do here. So, okay, guys, we pretty well got this brought into shape here. Now, as you can see, we've got a good bit of welding to do here. We got a lot of cracks, a lot of torn metal, but we got this thing brought around into shape. This may need brought back just a little, but probably not much. But at any rate, as you can see, we've got this brought in. We're going to be firing our TIG welder up here in a little bit, and go ahead and seam some of this in. And for those of you who don't have a TIG welder, a MIG welder will suffice doing this also. I've done it with both, and there's certainly nothing wrong with either one. I prefer a TIG welder for the simple reason you get a lot less heat input, and you can control your heat a lot better. So it tends to keep panels from warping and all kinds of nasty things that can happen when you're working on these. But hopefully it won't, because we're taking all the precautions we can to try to minimize all that.